The Galactic Assembly was the largest space station ever built. It floated in the empty space between 4 star systems, and every spacefaring species in the known galaxy sent their representatives there. The station was made of Valorian crystal, a material that bent light and seemed to glow from within. It was beautiful. It was ancient. And today, it was full of aliens who wanted to laugh at humans. Admiral Sam Carter walked through the main corridor with his hands clasped behind his back. He was 53 years old, with gray hair cut short and a face that had seen too many battles. Beside him walked Captain Lisa Monroe, younger, but just as serious. Behind them came Lieutenant Danny Vance and a small security team. The corridor was wide enough for 20 people to walk side by side. The walls showed images of different alien species, celebrating the unity of the galaxy. But Carter noticed that there were no human images on those walls. Humanity had only joined the galactic community 5 years ago. They were still the new species, the outsiders. A group of Valorians watched them pass. The Valorians were tall and thin, with silver skin that shimmered like metal. They wore robes made of woven light, and they looked at the humans the way a rich man might look at beggars on the street. Their uniforms are made of fabric, one Valorian whispered to another. Actual woven fabric. How primitive. Carter heard the comment but said nothing. He had heard worse. The assembly chamber was a massive dome at the center of the station. Thousands of seats rose in circles around a central platform. Representatives from over 200 species filled those seats. Some were humanoid, others were not. Carter saw beings made of living gas, creatures with dozens of eyes, and things that looked like floating rocks. The human delegation was given seats near the back, in the highest and worst section. It was not an accident. The older species always put the newer ones in their place. High Commander Zelthos stood on the central platform. He was the leader of the Valorian delegation, and one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. His silver skin was brighter than the others, and his eyes glowed with soft blue light. "Welcome to the 347th meeting of the Galactic Assembly," Zelthos said. His voice carried through the dome without any visible technology. "Today we discuss the matter of fleet deployments in the outer sectors. But first, we must address a new issue. The humans have requested full military membership in the Assembly." A ripple of whispers went through the crowd. Some species seemed curious. Most seemed amused. Carter stood up. "If I may speak, High Commander." Zelthos waved a hand, and a light appeared around Carter, amplifying his voice. "You may speak, human." "Thank you." Carter looked around the chamber. "The Human Federation controls 12 colony worlds and maintains a fleet of 217 warships. We have proven ourselves capable of defending our territory. We believe we are ready to join the Assembly as full military partners." For a moment, no one spoke. Then, the laughter began. It started with the Keth Dominion, a species of insectoid beings with hard shells and clicking mandibles. Their ambassador, a massive creature covered in chitin plates, made a sound like stones grinding together. It was their version of laughter. 200 ships, the Keth ambassador said. "We have 2,000 in our smallest patrol fleet." The Valorians joined in. Even species that Carter had never seen before were making sounds of amusement. Zelthos raised a hand for silence. "Admiral Carter, we have reviewed your fleet specifications. Our analysts have studied your vessels in great detail." He paused, and his lips curved into a smile. "Your ships appear to be constructed from metal alloys, simple iron and steel and titanium. Is this correct?" "Our ships use a variety of materials," Carter said carefully. "Metal alloys are the primary component, yes." More laughter. "The Valorians built their ships from crystalline composites that could bend light and energy. The Keth used living bioships that grew their own armor and healed their own wounds. Even the youngest spacefaring races had abandoned crude metal construction centuries ago. Your propulsion systems," Zelthos continued, still smiling. "They appear to use combustion-based technology, burning fuel to create thrust. We detected your flagship from 3 star systems away. The heat signature was remarkable, blinding," someone called out from the crowd. "Like a small sun." Our engines are efficient for our purposes, Carter said. Efficient? Zelthos shook his head. Admiral, every civilized species learned to hide their thermal signatures thousands of years ago. A visible heat signature makes you a target. Your ships announce their presence to anyone with basic sensors. It is like watching primitive creatures discover fire for the first time. The Keth ambassador leaned forward. Perhaps they will throw rocks at their enemies next. It would be equally effective. Lieutenant Vance took a step forward, his face red with anger. But Captain Monroe grabbed his arm and held him back. Carter turned slightly and gave Vance a look that said, "Not now. Our technology may seem simple to you," Carter said, keeping his voice calm. "But it serves our needs. We are not asking for your approval of our methods. We are asking for the opportunity to prove ourselves." Zelthos exchanged looks with several other delegates. The amusement in his eyes was obvious. "Very well, Admiral. We will take your request under consideration. But I must be honest with you. The Assembly has certain standards for military membership. Your fleet does not meet those standards. Your ships are too slow, too visible, and too fragile. In any real battle, they would be destroyed within minutes. We have won battles before," Carter said. "Against whom? Pirates? Smugglers?" The Keth ambassador clicked his mandibles. "You have never faced a true military force. When you do, your metal ships will melt like ice in a furnace." Carter looked at the Keth ambassador for a long moment. "Perhaps," he said quietly. "Or perhaps not." The meeting continued for another 2 hours. Trade agreements were discussed. Border disputes were settled. Through it all, the human delegation sat in silence, ignored by the rest of the assembly. When the meeting finally ended, Carter led his team back through the corridors of the station. Vance was still angry, muttering under his breath about alien arrogance. "They think we are nothing," Vance said. "They think our ships are toys." "Let them think that," Carter replied. Monroe walked beside the Admiral, her expression thoughtful. "They have never fought us, sir. They have only looked at our specifications on paper. They do not know what our ships can really do." Carter nodded slowly. "No, they do not. And that may be the only advantage we have." He paused at a viewport, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human colonies were building more ships, training more crews, and preparing for a war that everyone knew was coming. "The Keth will attack eventually," Carter said. "They always do. They are conquerors. And when they come for our worlds, we will show them exactly what our primitive ships can do." Monroe smiled slightly. "They will be surprised." "Yes," Carter agreed. "They will." 3 months passed after the meeting at the Galactic Assembly. The Human Federation continued to build ships and train crews. The alien species continued to laugh and mock, and the Keth Dominion continued to plan. The Keth were conquerors. They had been conquering worlds for over 10,000 years. Their empire stretched across 200 star systems. And their fleets were made of living ships that grew from organic material. These bioships could heal themselves, grow new weapons, and adapt to almost any threat. The Keth had never lost a major war, and now they had decided that human space looked weak. Commander Katie Walsh was sitting in her captain's chair when the alarms began to sound. She was 38 years old, with dark hair tied back in a practical bun. She had been in the human navy for 15 years, and she had learned to trust her instincts. Right now, her instincts were screaming that something very bad was about to happen. "Report," she said, her voice sharp. Lieutenant Ben Torres looked up from the tactical console. He was young, barely 25, but he was good at his job. Multiple contacts dropping out of Fold Space, Commander. Bearing 27 Mark 4. Range is decreasing fast. The main view screen flickered, and then the image appeared. Walsh felt her stomach drop. 47 ships. Each one was massive, at least twice the size of her own vessel. They were organic, covered in thick shells that pulsed with strange bioluminescent patterns. Keth bioships, the most dangerous warships in the galaxy. All hands to battle stations, Walsh said quietly. She pressed a button on her chair. This is Commander Walsh to all crew. We have hostile contacts incoming. This is not a drill. Ensign Megan Price looked up from the helm console. She was even younger than Torres. Fresh out of the academy. Her hands were shaking slightly. Commander, there are so many of them. I can count, Ensign. Hold your position. The communications console beeped. Torres looked at it and swallowed hard. Commander, they are hailing us. Put it on screen. The image changed. The Keth warlord appeared, and Walsh had to force herself not to look away. The Keth were insectoid creatures with multiple limbs and hard shells. This one was larger than any Keth she had seen before. Its mandibles clicked together as it spoke, and a translation device turned the clicks into words. Human vessel, the warlord said. I am War Master Kethrak of the Dominion. You are in space that now belongs to us. Surrender your ship and your world, and some of you may be allowed to live. Walsh stood up slowly. This is Commander Walsh of the USS Reliant. This is human space. These are human worlds. You have no claim here. Kethrak made that horrible grinding sound that passed for Keth laughter. Claims are made by the strong and taken from the weak. Your primitive fleet cannot stop us. We have studied your ships. Metal hulls, combustion engines. You are children playing with toys, while adults go to war. Then why are you bothering to call? If we are so weak, just attack. The warlord paused. For a moment, something that might have been confusion passed across his alien features. Then he laughed again. I call because I want you to understand. I want you to know that there is no hope. Your colony has 2 million people. When we are done, there will be none. We will consume your genetic material and add it to our hive. Your species will serve the Dominion, one way or another. Walsh looked at the view screen, at the massive fleet arrayed against her single ship. She thought about the colony below, about the families and children who had no idea what was coming. She thought about running, about retreating to warn the rest of the fleet. But the fleet was 4 hours away. Admiral Carter was coming, but he would never arrive in time. How long until the fleet arrives? She asked Torres, keeping her voice low. Admiral Carter's battle group is 4 hours out, Torres replied. They are pushing their engines as hard as they can. 4 hours. The Keth could destroy the colony in 2. Walsh made her decision. She turned back to the view screen. War Master Kethrak, I have a counteroffer. Leave now, and I will let you live. Silence. Then the Keth warlord burst into that terrible clicking laughter. Around him, other Keth officers joined in. The sound was like 1,000 insects rubbing their legs together. One ship, Kethrak said, when he could speak again. One tiny metal ship threatens 47 bio-cruisers. This is why humans will be slaves. You do not understand reality. Walsh cut the transmission. She turned to her crew. Everyone was staring at her. Some looked scared. Some looked confused. A few looked like they understood. We are not going to run, Walsh said. We are going to fight, Torres spoke carefully. Commander, our weapons can barely scratch their bio-armor. Their ships heal faster than we can damage them. The tactical analysis says we have no chance of victory. I did not say we would win. I said we would fight. Walsh sat back down in her chair. There are 2 million people on that planet. Mothers and fathers. Children. They cannot run. And they cannot hide. The only thing between them and death is us. She pressed the ship-wide communication button. All hands, this is Commander Walsh. You know what we are facing. You know the odds. But I need you to understand something. We are not fighting to win. We are fighting to give those people time. Every minute we survive is a minute for evacuations. Every shot we fire is a chance for someone to reach the shelters. Admiral Carter is coming. We just need to hold. Chief Engineer Paul Harmon's voice came through the intercom from engineering. Commander, I have been listening. 1 ship against 47. Those are bad odds. The worst. Good. Harmon actually sounded pleased. Because I have some ideas about our engines that might make things interesting. These old combustion drives run hot. Very hot. I always thought that was a problem. But I have been thinking, maybe it is not a problem. Maybe it is a weapon. Walsh felt a small spark of hope. What do you have in mind, Chief? Let me show you. Just get us close to those ugly bugs, and I will give them something they have never seen before. Walsh smiled grimly. You heard the man. Megan, bring us to heading 27 Mark IV. All ahead full. Take us straight at them. Price's hands steadied on the controls. Aye, Commander. All ahead full. The USS Reliant turned toward the Keth fleet. One small ship, made of crude metal, powered by primitive engines, crewed by humans who refused to surrender. The Keth were still laughing. They would not be laughing for long. The USS Reliant was not a large ship. It was 300 meters long, built from steel and titanium alloys, and powered by fusion reactors that drove massive combustion engines. By galactic standards, it was a relic, a museum piece, the kind of ship that advanced species had stopped building 10,000 years ago. But Commander Katie Walsh did not care about galactic standards. She cared about the 2 million people on the planet below, and she cared about the 47 Keth bioships that were moving to destroy them. Distance to enemy fleet? She asked. 50,000 kilometers and closing, Torres reported from Tactical. They are spreading out into an attack formation. They are not taking us seriously. They think we are trying to run. Good. Let them think that. Walsh leaned forward in her chair. Megan, increase speed. Take us right into the center of their formation. Ensign Price hesitated for just a moment. Then she nodded. Aye, Commander. Adjusting course. The Reliant accelerated. On the view screen, the Keth fleet grew larger. The bioships were terrifying up close. Their hulls were made of thick organic material that looked like a combination of shell and skin. Bioluminescent patterns pulsed across their surfaces as they communicated with each other through some kind of hive link. They are charging weapons, Torres said. Organic projectiles. Bone spines and acid pods. Range in 30 seconds. All hands, brace for impact. Walsh gripped the arms of her chair. Return fire when ready. Target the lead ships. The Reliance weapon systems came online. Kinetic cannons and plasma turrets rotated into position. They were primitive weapons by galactic standards, but they were all Walsh had. The first Keth volley hit like a storm. The ship shuddered as bone spines punched through the outer hull. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. Hull breach on Deck 7, Torres shouted. Deck 9 is venting atmosphere. Seal the breaches. Keep firing. The Reliant fought back. Kinetic rounds slammed into the nearest bioship, punching holes in its organic hull. But Walsh watched in frustration as the holes began to close almost immediately. The bioship was healing itself, its living tissue growing back faster than they could damage it. It is not working, Price said, her voice tight with fear. Their armor is regenerating too fast. I know. Walsh pressed the intercom button. Chief Harmon, are you ready down there? Harmon's voice came back, strained but determined. Almost, Commander. I need you to get us closer. Much closer. Inside their formation. How close? Close enough to shake hands with them. Walsh looked at the tactical display. The Keth ships were spreading out to surround the Reliant. If she flew into the center of their formation, she would be surrounded on all sides. There would be no escape. Megan, take us in. Full speed. Price's hands moved across the helm controls. The Reliant dove forward, straight into the heart of the Keth fleet. Bone spines and acid pods flew past on all sides. Some hit the ship, causing more damage, more breaches. But Walsh kept them moving. We are in the center of their formation, Torres reported. They have us surrounded. Good. Walsh opened the channel to engineering. Chief, now would be a good time. Increasing reactor output to 115%, Harmon replied. Commander, I need to warn you. What I am about to do is not exactly in the manual. Our engines produce a lot of heat. Normally, we vent that heat into space in a controlled way. But if I open all the vents at once and push the reactor to maximum output, we will flood this entire area with superheated plasma. How hot? Hot enough to cook anything organic within 2 kilometers. The problem is, our own hull will take damage too. We might melt our own sensor arrays and weapon systems. Walsh looked at the view screen. The Keth bioships were closing in, preparing to tear the Reliant apart. Their organic hulls pulsed with hungry light. "Do it," she said. Harmon did not hesitate. Venting all exhaust ports. Maximum dispersal. The Reliant transformed. Every exhaust vent on the ship opened at once. Superheated plasma poured out in all directions. The temperature around the ship spiked to levels that would vaporize water instantly. The space around the Reliant became a furnace, and the Keth bioships began to scream. Their organic hulls were designed to heal from kinetic damage. They could regenerate from energy weapons. They could adapt to almost any threat the galaxy had ever produced. But they had never encountered anything like this. Raw, uncontrolled heat, primitive combustion exhaust, the same technology that the Galactic Assembly had mocked as backward and useless. Living tissue does not heal from being cooked. The nearest bioship tried to pull away, but it was too late. Its hull was already burning, the organic material charring and splitting. Walsh could hear the screams of the Keth crew through the ship's sensors. They were being boiled alive inside their own vessel. 3 bioships destroyed, Torres reported, his voice filled with disbelief. 4. 5. Commander. They are dying. The Keth formation broke apart in panic. Ships that had been closing in for the kill now fled in all directions, desperate to escape the wave of heat pouring from the Reliant. War Master Kethrak's voice cut through the chaos on the communication channel. "What is this? What are you doing? Your ship is primitive. Your weapons are weak. How are you killing us?" Walsh activated the channel. "We are burning you, War Master. Your bioships are living things, and living things die when you set them on fire. This is impossible. Our armor regenerates." "Nothing can. Your armor cannot regenerate if it is already ash." Walsh leaned forward. "You laughed at our ships. You laughed at our engines. You called us primitives playing with fire. Well, here is your fire." The Reliant continued to pour heat into space. More bioships died. Their hulls cracked and split as the organic material cooked from the outside in. The survivors pulled back, keeping their distance from the burning human vessel. 11 bioships destroyed, Torres said. "Commander, they are retreating. They are actually retreating." But Walsh knew it was not over. 36 bioships remained, and the Reliant was badly damaged. The heat venting was destroying the Keth, but it was also burning out the Reliant's own systems. They could not keep this up forever. "How long until Admiral Carter arrives?" she asked. 3 hours. 3 hours. They had bought 1 hour of time, but there were still 3 more to go. Walsh looked at her damaged ship, her exhausted crew, and the enemy fleet that was regrouping in the distance. The Keth were hurt and confused, but they would not stay that way. They would figure out how to counter the heat. They would adapt, but for now, they were afraid. And that was enough. "All hands," Walsh said over the shipwide channel. "We just proved something important. We proved that the galaxy does not understand humans. They look at our ships and see weakness. They look at our technology and see primitives. But we know something they do not know. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Sometimes fire is all you need." The Reliant hung in space, burning like a star, surrounded by the cooling wreckage of Keth bioships. The battle was not over. But for the first time, humans were winning. Admiral Sam Carter stood on the bridge of the USS Valor and watched the stars stretch into lines as his fleet pushed through warp space. 23 ships, all burning at maximum speed toward New Boston Colony, toward a battle that might already be over. "How much longer?" Carter asked. Lieutenant Commander Chris Drake checked his console. 47 minutes, Admiral. We are pushing the engines as hard as they can go." Carter nodded but said nothing. 47 minutes felt like a lifetime. The last communication from Commander Walsh had been 2 hours ago. She had reported engaging the Keth fleet with a single ship against 47 enemies. Since then, there had been nothing but silence. Captain Lisa Monroe stood beside the Admiral, her face tight with worry. The Reliant cannot last that long against a full Keth fleet. No single ship could. I know. Carter's voice was heavy. But Walsh is stubborn. If anyone can buy time, it is her. The minutes passed slowly. The bridge crew worked in tense silence. Everyone knew what they were flying into. The Keth had the most powerful biofleet in 3 sectors. Their ships healed themselves, adapted to damage, and overwhelmed enemies with sheer numbers. The human fleet had never faced anything like them. Dropping out of warp in 30 seconds, Drake announced. Carter straightened his uniform. All ships, battle stations, prepare for immediate engagement upon arrival. The stars snapped back into focus. New Boston appeared on the view screen, a blue and green world that looked peaceful and beautiful. But above it, space was filled with the wreckage of war. My God, Drake whispered. Carter stared at the scene before him. 11 Keth bioships drifted dead in space. Their organic hulls were blackened and cracked, split open like eggs that had been left too long in a fire. Debris floated everywhere, and at the center of it all, one human ship burned like a small sun. The Reliant, Monroe said. She is still fighting. The Reliant was badly damaged. Hull breaches covered her sides. Entire sections of the ship were dark and lifeless. But she was still there, still burning, still pouring heat into space like a furnace that refused to die. Open a channel to Commander Walsh, Carter ordered. The communication screen flickered. Walsh's face appeared, covered in sweat and dirt. Behind her, the bridge of the Reliant was filled with smoke and sparks. Admiral, Walsh said, managing a tired smile. Good timing. Commander, what did you do? We improvised. Walsh coughed. Turns out our primitive engines have one advantage nobody expected. We run hot. Very hot. And the Keth bioships do not like being cooked. Carter looked at the tactical display. The remaining 36 Keth ships had pulled back, keeping their distance from the Reliant. They were circling like wolves around a wounded animal, but they were not attacking. They were afraid. Can you continue venting heat? Carter asked. Not much longer. Our reactor is close to overload. Chief Harmon is holding it together with willpower and duct tape, but we have maybe 30 minutes before something explodes. Understood. Pull back behind our formation. Let us take it from here. Carter turned to his tactical officer. Drake, relay my orders to the fleet. All ships are to increase thermal output to maximum. Vent all exhaust ports. We are going to turn this entire battlefield into a wall of fire. Drake looked surprised but quickly recovered. Aye, Admiral. Relaying orders now. Across the human fleet, captains and engineers received the same strange command. Increase reactor output. Open all heat vents. Do the opposite of everything they had been taught about space combat. Instead of hiding their thermal signatures, they were going to amplify them. Chief Engineer Amy Lynn reported from the Valor's engine room. Admiral, I can push our output to 120%. It will burn out some systems, but we will produce enough heat to melt anything within 5 kilometers. Do it. All ships. Do it. The human fleet spread out across the battlefield. 23 ships, all burning hot. The temperature of space itself began to rise as superheated plasma poured from every vessel. Sensors on the Keth ships started to overload. Their bio-armor, designed to heal from kinetic and energy damage, began to warp and bubble in the intense heat. War Master Kethrak screamed orders at his remaining fleet. Attack! Attack now. They are damaging themselves to fight us. We will outlast them. The Keth bioships surged forward, but they had to pass through the wall of fire to reach the human fleet. And as they did, their organic hulls began to cook. The first wave of Keth ships hit the heat zone and immediately slowed. Their bio-armor was regenerating as fast as it could, but the heat was relentless. Living tissue was not meant to exist at these temperatures. One ship began to list to the side as its internal systems failed. Another lost propulsion entirely, drifting helplessly as its crew died inside. Fire all weapons, Carter ordered. Target the damaged ships first. The human fleet opened fire. Kinetic rounds punched through weakened bioarmor. Plasma turrets burned holes that could not regenerate fast enough. Ships that had shrugged off human weapons an hour ago now died under the combined assault of heat and firepower. The Keth formation broke. Ships that had been advancing now tried to retreat. But the human fleet pursued them, pushing heat into their path, cutting off escape routes. "This is impossible," Kethrak hissed over the communication channel. "You are primitives. Your ships are weak. How are you defeating us?" Carter activated his own channel. "War Master, you made a mistake. You looked at our ships and saw only weakness. You saw metal hulls and combustion engines, and assumed we were inferior. But you never asked why we built ships that way. You never wondered if there might be a reason. There is no reason. Your technology is ancient, obsolete. Our technology works." Carter watched as another Keth ship cracked and died under the heat. "You built living ships that could heal any wound. We built ships that could survive in the fires of a star. You adapted to every weapon in the galaxy. But you never adapted to the oldest weapon of all." The battle raged for another hour. The human fleet hunted down the Keth bioships one by one. Some tried to surrender, but the heat killed them before negotiations could begin. Others tried to flee into warp space, but their organic systems had been too badly damaged to function. When it was over, 31 Keth bioships drifted dead in space. Only 5 had managed to escape, limping away with melted hulls and dying crews. The human fleet gathered above New Boston. Their ships were damaged. Their reactors were overheated. But they had won. Admiral Carter looked at the view screen, at the wreckage of the most feared fleet in the sector. "Get me a channel to New Boston Colony," he said. "Tell them they are safe. And tell them to start preparing celebrations. Today, humanity earned its place in the galaxy." On the bridge of the damaged Reliant, Commander Walsh heard the message. She leaned back in her chair, exhausted but alive. Around her, her surviving crew began to cheer. They had done the impossible. They had fought the monsters and won, with fire. 6 weeks after the Battle of New Boston, the Galactic Assembly met again. The Great Dome was filled with representatives from hundreds of species, just as before. The Valorians sat in their seats of honor, their silver skin shimmering under the lights. The remaining Keth delegation huddled in a corner, smaller and quieter than before. Other species watched and waited, curious to see what would happen. Admiral Sam Carter walked into the chamber with the same quiet confidence he had shown on his first visit. But this time, things were different. This time, the aliens were not laughing. Captain Lisa Monroe walked beside him. Behind them came Commander Katie Walsh, still recovering from her injuries but determined to be present. Lieutenant Danny Vance and several other officers followed. The human delegation was not given seats at the back this time. A section near the front had been cleared for them, close to the central platform where the most important business took place. High Commander Zelthos rose to address the assembly. His silver face was calm, but there was something new in his glowing eyes, something that might have been respect or fear. "The Galactic Assembly recognizes the human delegation," Zelthos said. His voice was formal, lacking the mockery it had carried before. "We have matters to discuss." Carter stood. "High Commander, Admiral Carter." Zelthos paused, as if choosing his words carefully. "The Assembly has reviewed the battle records from New Boston. Our analysts have studied the engagement in great detail. What you accomplished was unexpected." A murmur went through the crowd. Many species had seen the recordings. The footage of human ships transforming into furnaces, of Keth bioships cooking from the inside out, had spread across the galaxy. Some had not believed it at first. They believed it now. "The Keth Dominion sent their largest patrol fleet to conquer your colony," Zelthos continued. 47 bioships. The most advanced organic warships in 3 sectors. Their hulls could regenerate from almost any damage. Their crews were veterans of 100 wars. By every calculation, They should have destroyed your forces within hours. Armenda didn't. Carter nodded but said nothing. Instead, you destroyed 2/3 of their fleet, 31 ships, with crews totaling over 50,000 Keth warriors. Gone. Zelthos looked at the Keth delegation. They refused to meet his eyes. We have received reports that the Dominion is withdrawing forces from 2 neighboring sectors. They are afraid. The Keth ambassador rose slowly. He was smaller than the War Master who had attacked New Boston, and his mandibles clicked nervously as he spoke. The Dominion acknowledges the human victory. We do not seek further conflict at this time. Carter turned to face the Keth ambassador. No, you do not. Because you learned something important at New Boston. You learned that sometimes the most primitive weapon is the most dangerous. The ambassador looked away. Zelthos raised a hand for silence. Admiral, the Assembly has questions. Your ships are inefficient by our standards. They waste enormous energy on heat production. Your propulsion systems are centuries behind standard galactic technology. Your hulls are made of simple metal alloys that offer minimal protection. These are facts. They are facts, Carter agreed. And yet you won. Zelthos shook his head slowly. We did not anticipate that these flaws could become weapons. We looked at your specifications and saw only weakness. We never considered that your weakness might be our weakness as well. Commander Walsh stepped forward. May I speak, High Commander? Zelthos nodded. For centuries, advanced species have been perfecting their technology. Your ships hide their heat signatures. Your weapons are precise and elegant. Your bioships heal themselves and adapt to any threat. Walsh paused. But you forgot something. You forgot that the galaxy is full of fire. Stars burn at millions of degrees. Volcanoes melt rock into liquid. Every planet with life has to deal with heat in one way or another. It is the most basic force in the universe. The Assembly listened in silence. Humans evolved on a planet with deserts and volcanoes and burning summers. We learned to survive heat before we learned to make tools. When we built our first ships, we built them to handle high temperatures. We did not hide from heat. We embraced it. Our ships run hot because that is how we survived. Walsh looked around the chamber. You looked at our technology and saw primitives playing with fire. But fire is what we know. Fire is what we are. Zelthos was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. His voice thoughtful. Your species weaponized a design limitation. You turned inefficiency into an advantage. Most civilizations would have tried to fix the flaw. You made it stronger. We made it ours, Carter said simply. A Valorian delegate spoke up from the crowd. The heat levels your ships produced should have destroyed your own vessels. How did you survive? Carter smiled slightly. Our ships are built from metal alloys. Metal conducts heat, but it does not burn. Our crews wore environmental suits, designed for high temperatures. Our systems are hardened against thermal stress. We lost sensors and some weapons. But our ships held together. Your bioships could not say the same. More whispers spread through the Assembly. Species that had dismissed humanity were now taking notes. Species that had planned to attack human colonies were quietly reconsidering. Zelthos raised his hand again. The Galactic Assembly has reached a decision. The Human Federation is hereby granted full military membership in the Assembly. Your fleet will be included in all defense planning. Your commanders will have seats in the War Council. Carter nodded. Thank you, High Commander. There is one more matter. Zelthos hesitated. Something that seemed unusual for him. The Assembly formally requests military consultation with the Human Federation. We believe your unique approach to warfare may prove valuable in future conflicts. For a moment, Carter just looked at the High Commander. This was the same being who had laughed at human ships 3 months ago. The same being who had called them primitives, playing with fire. Now he was asking for help. We will consider your request, Carter said. But I want something understood. Humanity is not here to be mocked or dismissed. We are not primitives. We are not children. We are a species that has survived everything the universe has thrown at us. From ice ages to nuclear weapons, to diseases that should have wiped us out. We are still here. And we will always be here. The assembly was silent. Carter turned and walked toward the exit. His delegation followed. As they passed the Keth ambassador, the insectoid being flinched away slightly. He was afraid of humans. Lisa Monroe walked beside Carter as they entered the corridor. They respect us now, she said quietly. No. Carter shook his head. They fear us. That is not the same thing. But fear will do for now. In time, they will learn that humans can be trusted. They will learn that we fight only when we have to. And they will learn that when we fight to win. They reached the viewport where Carter had stood 6 weeks ago, looking out at the stars. The same stars were there, unchanged. But everything else was different. What happens now? Monroe asked. Now we go home. We repair our ships. We train our crews. And we wait. Carter looked out at the darkness between the stars. The Keth were just the first. Others will come. The galaxy is full of species that want to conquer, to dominate, to destroy. They will look at humanity and think we are weak. They will be wrong. Monroe nodded. And when they come, Carter allowed himself a small smile. We will burn them too.